How long is this? How long has Virginia offered this program?
In its current form, 3.5 years. We started in January of 2018.
And you probably and the thing there's no way to quantify this, but I mean, you essentially are saving businesses. It could be a matter of survival and failure. You could be saving businesses from spending hundreds of thousands of dollars going down, keeping them from going down the wrong path. So there's a huge benefit that way.
Yep.
How much does it cost to go through a program like this?
Well, for us, because we are funded by the Commonwealth and in part by the federal government, nothing to entrepreneurs. So, our whole purpose is that we want to make sure that the companies that need help, that can't afford to hire, a team of consultants, can get that quality level of support. And it's, in the long run, it improves the economy because we're able to make sure a large amount of companies are finding success and finding it faster than they would have otherwise. So thankfully, we are receiving a lot of support. So entrepreneurs who want to get the assistance from our program don't have to spend any money.
And there's your call to action, everybody. Another buzzword. Yeah, you have a program that is free of charge, that is funded by the state and by the SBA to ensure that you are starting off on the right foot. You can identify your customers, you know how to get started, and it's absolutely free. And Zach, if you can pop up the website again where people can go to
I was just counting buzzwords.
Yeah. There it is.
Virginia SBDC.org/program/ICAP.
But I mean,
what does ICAP stand for?
Innovation Commercialization Assistance Program.
But it's just so important. I mean, we've all seen people that have dumped an entire life savings into something only for it to fail. And on the flip side, people have waited so long to launch because it wasn't ready yet. And then the opportunity has completely passed them by because they're afraid to launch. Yeah, and this.
Yeah.
And then they play the blame game. I mean, that's the worst part. It's like you had a chance when you were trying to talk about this 7 years ago, but you kind of got to get it out early. From a statewide perspective, so this is statewide. How does it get administered? I was never good at English. How do you do it? Is it something that you guys do online? Is it something that you go to every city? How does it get thrown into the wolves?
So for the first 2+ years until last March, we would do in-person cohorts. So we went down as far southwest as Roanoke, and we went to Hampton Roads, Northern Virginia, Fredericksburg, Leesburg, Charlottesville, Harrisonburg, and we were planning to go to Lynchburg, Richmond, and a couple other locations in 2020. Obviously, we canceled everything after March and have been virtual since then. And what that has allowed us to do is anybody who's an entrepreneur who needs the assistance, regardless of where they are in the Commonwealth, can get connected to the program at almost any time. So the process is somebody gets connected to us through whatever means that was, and we connect them with an ICAP mentor. And we have a team of folks that are all successful entrepreneurs who are practitioners of the lean startup methodology process. And we'll start to work with them one-on-one. And that's the real value. A majority of our clients go through our introductory program to learn about lean startup and how we use the process so that they get as good as they can during our 2-week introductory course. After that, they've learned enough to understand how to do that on an ongoing basis. And rather than doing it as part of a longer program, they work individually with their ICAP mentor to, all right, I'm going to do 10 more interviews that are focused on this. And then they hold a meeting to learn about what happened, review the notes, and then use that information to help the entrepreneur make some decisions about, okay, I learned that it's this group of people who are actually making purchases. So I'm now going to narrow my focus to only interview those people for my next 10 or 20 interviews. And then in terms of our greater ICAP community, we have monthly calls that are virtual, and that helps to have guest speakers, showcase some companies that are hitting some big milestones, as well as those that are coming up against barriers and would like some help from our greater ICAP teaching team. So we try to keep people as engaged as possible. And at some point in the future, we will go back to some in-person programmings. We usually do that as reunions. So we get people together who have already become part of the program, and that they can get together in person. And then we also hold meetings throughout the Commonwealth, both with partners, potential partners, and then prospective clients that want to learn more.
So you start several years ago, in-person cohort style for a few weeks, and then something happened in 2020. Not sure what that thing was. That happened in March of 2020. Maybe you can let us know. At some point, people will ask, like, what happened in March of 2020? That made things so weird. So you guys do a quick little pivot, and then you just said that you're gonna boomerang back and do some sort of in-person. Why the switch to go back? It seems like you made some points that it seemed like it was better that people can pop in at any time, but now, I mean, I guess you just realized that maybe getting, I don't know, why boomerang back to in person when the stuff seemed to be working best online?
So we are going to continue to have virtual programming. The piece that is going to be back in person is what we call road shows. So going around the Commonwealth to meet with the potential partners, current partners, prospective clients, and then also doing reunions for folks that are already in the community. So that piece will be going back to in person. The introductory program that we have, we will continue to offer that as a virtual option. If there are partners, like we have a number of partners in the Hampton Roads area that say, all right, well, we have this number of companies that we want to have go through the program, and we'd like to do it in person. We want to be flexible enough to where ultimately our goal is to first meet the needs of our clients, but also meet the needs of our partners. So if they have found a number of companies that want to go through and become part of ICAP and use the resource, then we want to make sure that we're, in a figurative sense, no pun intended, meeting them where they are. So if that means us coming down to Hampton Roads again to do something in person, we'll do that.
It's interesting that you mentioned program partners that are in already existing areas. There's a ton of, what would be my guess is, ton of these things in the 757 area, a ton of this in Charlottesville, I'm sure, a ton of this in the I guess you can't say DC, in the Northern Virginia area, in the Blacksburg area, and you're just another thing, right? You're another program that's coming in. How have you been able to get the buy-in from these programs so that these businesses can go through your thing and not just their thing? Because that there's a ton of Tim probably has the correct buzzword for it, but there's a ton of overlap in a lot of this stuff where it seems like everyone's doing the same programming or similar programming, yet nothing gets universally adopted. So that, at the end of the day, the business is what's important. So how have you been able, growing the business is what's the most important thing, right? That's what I always preach is. So how have you guys been able to get the buy-in from these cities and these programs in a specific area where you guys are doing similar or very complementary, or maybe not even complementary things?
Sure, absolutely. So our goal from the beginning has always been to be additive to the resources that are already existing. So we will come in and we will work in partnership with groups that may have a local program. But the benefit of ICAP and the reason that we are out of the state office of the Virginia SBDC is first and foremost to add capability and capacity to local SBDC offices. So we have 27 offices throughout the Commonwealth. And rather than needing to have each one of them individually hire somebody who can provide technology mentorship and advice, we are owning that out of the state office. So in some areas, ICAP is the soup to nuts programming for helping entrepreneurs. So if anybody at any point needs assistance, they're coming to ICAP. In the case of Hampton Roads, we are working with a large number of the existing organizations that are there to make sure that assistance is provided. So, for instance, there's the 757 Accelerate program, and they're looking to make their selection soon for their fall cohort. Our goal is to, one, help provide recommendations to their fall cohort through having our members, our member clients apply, and that those folks are in a better position to get the most out of the accelerator because they're fully prepared. And then on the flip side, the accelerator can only take so many companies. So we also offer the companies that weren't selected an opportunity to get assistance to help accelerate them. We would bill our introductory program as a pre-accelerator so that we can get them, again, fully prepared so that the next time they're in a much better position to apply and get accepted. So that's an example of how we try to work with folks to make sure that they're getting what they need, and to your point, have the business win, and then create partnerships within an entrepreneurial ecosystem that are complementary as opposed to additive.
Got it. One of your cohorters, or whatever the correct vernacular is, Jesse Hepburn, says he's in the cohort right now. There we go.
Yep, absolutely. And we'll have about an hour and 15 minutes until Jesse and I will be on the same call for our midpoint. So the way that the introductory course works is we have a few days in week one where we're going over some lessons, some curriculum, and also having teams talk about what they're doing, share about what their customer segment is, what they believe it is, what they believe their customer is doing now. And then they have a week to go out and talk to their first 10 customers, do interviews, meet with their ICAP mentor, and then at the midpoint, they report back what they learned. And based on what they learned, how they're going to update their hypotheses and what they're going to do next. And then we give them another week to go out, talk to another 10 potential customers and refine what they're learning. And then we have a close on the last day where there's kind of a final lesson, and then we do final presentations, which then leads into the long-term one-on-one mentorship with an advisor, now that they're fully up to speed to be able to do this without the same level of support that's needed throughout the introductory program.
As someone who's been directly involved within the startup community for almost a decade, I want to talk to you about a serious pain point: spending a ton of time trying to understand the business landscape in the 757. That's time that should be focused on growing the business. At Startwheel, we're here to help you by compiling all of the news you need to know about in one place. Now there's no need to search multiple websites. Just head to startwheel.org and see for yourself. That's startwheel.org.